Welcome to The Explainer. We're jumping right in today because we've got a remarkably concise, incredibly powerful framework to unpack. Seriously, it's all about the mechanics of influencing human behavior. In just one single profound premise, we get a complete binary system for how to manage, direct, and actually alter the actions of the people around us. We're talking about the dual levers of behavioral influence.
So how do you effectively influence behavior? Think about the behaviors you're trying to manage every single day. Whether you're a leader in a corporate office, a parent at home, or an educator in a classroom, you're constantly facing this challenge of guiding others. And let's be totally honest with ourselves here, it can be incredibly difficult to pull the right lever to get the exact results you want, right? We've all been there. We get frustrated. Maybe you've offered a teenager $20 to clean their room and you walk in and it's still a total disaster zone. Or maybe you've tried to scold your team into being more creative. Yeah, that never works. Our efforts to encourage someone fall flat, or our attempts to stop a bad habit just completely backfire. Well, this frustration usually happens for one simple reason. We are fundamentally mismatching our tools to our goals.
Okay, let's dive into the core text. This profoundly simple premise says this: if you want people to do something and take an action, then motivate them through rewards and incentives. But if you want people not to do something and prevent them from doing something, then you need to get them with the negative consequences of punishments. Wow, talk about a strict conditional dichotomy. There is literally no gray area here. It presents a very clear if-then scenario that splits all human behavior straight down the middle into two distinct categories: creating action and stopping action.
So let's break that down. Section 1, Level 1, Driving Action.
Here, our goal is simply to get people to do something. Think about generating forward momentum. We're talking about launching a new sales initiative, getting your kids to finally start their homework, or, encouraging your partner to hit the gym with you. This is all about generating activity where there currently isn't any, or maybe dialing up an activity that's already happening. When your goal is active creation or participation, you are operating strictly on this side of the behavioral equation.
And what's really fascinating here is how the text explicitly ties the act of motivation to very specific positive tools. The definition we are working with is to motivate, to drive an action through rewards and incentives. Notice how we aren't just vaguely encouraging people. The goal of taking an action is directly paired with the word motivate, and it strictly defines that motivation as being fueled entirely by rewards and incentives. It builds this undeniable causal link. Action requires motivation, and motivation requires positive reinforcement.
So if action is your desired outcome, your focal points should solely be these positive drivers: rewards and incentives. A reward is obviously what someone gets after they complete the action, while an incentive, well, that's the promise of the reward designed to get them moving in the very first place. Human beings simply need a tangible, positive reason to expend energy to do something. You absolutely cannot frighten someone into genuine proactive motivation. You just can't. You have to pull them forward with a price. As they say, nobody ever innovated a brilliant new product because their boss threatened to tow their car, right?
But what about the other side of the coin? Section 2, Level 2, Preventing Action.
The absolutely crucial point here is that when your goal flips, when you want people not to do something, when your goal is to prevent something, your entire strategy has to change. You're no longer trying to overcome inertia to create movement. Now, you're trying to build a brick wall to stop existing or potential movement. The psychological objective has completely reversed, which means your toolkit has to reverse right along with it. We are officially taking our foot off the accelerator and slamming on the brakes.
In this framework, to prevent is to stop an action using the negative consequences of punishments. Prevention is inextricably linked to the introduction of negative friction. You don't prevent something by offering a reward, right? You prevent it by ensuring that taking the action results in pain, loss, or discomfort. To stop an action, the environment literally has to become immediately unappealing for that specific behavior. We have to rely on the negative consequences of punishments.
And we have to use negative consequences and punishments. This brilliantly illustrates that relying on positive incentives is just going to fail if your actual goal is to stop a behavior in its tracks. Think about it for a second. You cannot simply reward someone for not being late to work and expect a permanent shift. Why? Because the desire to sleep in is eventually going to outweigh that tiny little bonus. Instead, you need the clear, firm boundary of negative consequences and punishments. These are the tools that create the necessary boundaries and the fear of loss that prevent human beings from taking a specific, unwanted action.
Let's put this all together. Section 3, Mastering the Dual Levers.
When we weigh these side by side,
action plus reward versus inaction plus punishment, we see the core thesis perfectly laid out. On the one hand, action requires reward. On the other, inaction requires punishment. You absolutely must align the correct lever with your specific behavioral goal. Actually, a super common mistake we see is people punishing someone to get them to start a new positive habit. But what does that do? It just creates resentment, not motivation. Conversely, offering a bonus to someone simply so they don't break the rules. Yeah, equally ineffective. You have to match the tool to the intended direction of the behavior.
And this cheat sheet right here? Think of it as a logical, binary map for literally any influence challenge you face. If your goal is to take an action, your strategy is to motivate through rewards and incentives. If your goal is to prevent an action, your strategy is to get them with the negative consequences or punishments. It strips away all that complex psychological jargon we usually hear and leaves us with pure, actionable utility. It is just a perfect, symmetrical map for behavioral management.
So, I'll leave you with this question. Which lever are you pulling today, and is it the right one for your goal? Keep this incredibly focused framework in mind the next time you need to guide behavior. Whether you want someone to speak up way more in your team meetings, or you desperately want them to stop leaving their dirty coffee mugs in the break room sink, ask yourself, are you truly matching your method to your objective? Look at the lever in your hand right now. Are you trying to inspire a masterpiece with a threat? Or are you trying to stop a disaster with a gold star? Choose the right lever and watch the behavior change.